Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Want to learn how Tony Walker Financial avoids the one-size-fits-all mantra preached by the financial world? It's called the split IRA concept, and today we'll learn about 3 different cases where we're using this for savers everywhere. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and 6-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And in case you missed our last show, we had my favorite nephew in the studio, fellow fiduciary, Mr. Wes Walker, and we discussed this concept of no one-size-fits-all and how we at Tony Walker Financial, through our Charles Schwab platform, have created 3 unique strategies to help savers be diversified in their retirement planning. And today I'm going to share with you 3 case studies about how we do just that. But before we get started, actually in the studios with us in Louisville, Kentucky on this November 28th, 2022, is America's favorite financial sidekick, along also with Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. So I'll start with you. Good afternoon, Aaron. We're recording this in the afternoon instead of morning. I almost said good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, sir. I'm doing just fine. And how about yourself?
I'm doing real well. Actually, we had a long Thanksgiving week. Normally, we're with family. My wife, Susan, wasn't diagnosed with COVID, but man, she got a bad case of the flu. So we stayed home by ourselves on Thanksgiving Day. This sounds exciting. I made my world-famous spinach dip. I've made tuna fish, and because it was just us 2, guess what I did not get to make this Thanksgiving?
No deviled eggs.
No deviled eggs. Can I get a womp-womp, Derek?
Womp-womp.
And then we have Derek over there. I understand you went back to see your mom in Metropolis, Illinois. Is that really a place?
It's real. You know, it's... Metropolis stands for big city, and they incorrectly named it. It's a very small town.
Well, and you had a good Thanksgiving, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we had all the usual fixings, turkey and cranberry sauce and all, and then put up a Christmas tree and watch it promptly fall down.
Well, good thing you're better at putting up tripods in the studio than Christmas trees. So, oh, by the way, speaking of my Tony's devilish deviled eggs, the famous recipe, which is going to go in our cookbook, Derek, could you tell us a little bit about our cookbook we've got? Now, this is all clients and staff, but it's going to be for everyone. So, again, as we record the show in November 2022, how's our cookbook coming along, and how are people going to be able to get a free copy of it?
Yeah, I believe my deadline to get all the pages put together is December 8th, so that's roughly when it should be coming out. We're going to have it as a free PDF on the website. I know for tomorrow's show, we're cutting a spot that'll air in mid-January, so they might hear about it again at that point. But December 8th, roughly that time, we should have it up on the website, free to download.
At TonyWalkerFinancial.com, it'll be life-changing. How many recipes are we up to?
Oh, it's over 100. I think there's 97 on the website and 5 from one client specifically. So.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought just like a week or 2 ago, Trey said there was 50 or 60. It's over 100 now?
Yeah, he really pushed for him, and he got what he asked for.
I'm really excited about those. Okay, so... any thoughts, Aaron? I know last week you were with me, and mainly Wes was doing the show, but this whole concept of one size fits all, let me set the stage, folks. So what's happened in the financial world is basically there's 2 camps out there. You have the camp with the philosophy coming from risking and growing your money. That would be Wall Street, which we work on that side of the aisle. You'll learn this in a minute through our Charles Schwab platform. Then the other camp, which is sometimes diametrically opposed to the Wall Street camp, and that would be the camp of insurance companies and, of course, those people selling annuities, which as fiduciaries, we do that as well. The problem is either camp thinks theirs is the only way to go. In other words, Wall Street hates annuities, and in many cases, the people selling annuities hate the products offered by Wall Street. We call that one-size-fits-all. And you're going to find out at Tony Walker Financial, we don't fall into this one-size-fits-all camp. So, okay, Aaron, I asked you before we went on, can you think of an example that one-size-fits-all came into your life?
You know, we talked about this last week, and I think I was talking about cars. I would say another example that I've seen in my lifetime with kind of a one-size-fits-all, and it really does have to do with size, like actually something fitting you. I think about like tennis shoes. I think about like when I was growing up and playing sports, whether it was basketball or football or whatever, like, you know, I'll try not to name brands or whatever, but at the same time, I'm going to mention somebody by name. You know, Michael Jordan, you know, he had his shoe line that came out, you know, the Jordan shoe line. And it was just touted as these are going to flat out make you a better basketball player, period. You don't need to work on your drills. You don't need to work on your layups. You don't need to work on dribbling. These shoes are what everybody needs to wear. This is what everybody needs to wear. And I think about that, and it's like, okay, come on. If you go to, you know, any shoe store or whatever, you're going to see a wall of all kinds of different shoes. But it's touted like, well, these Jordans or these other brand or these Nike or whatever, these are the ones that everybody needs. This is it.
And the financial world's like that too. It's a good example. There's this one magic bullet or magic product that's going to end all your worries. And folks, that's just not the real world. In fact, what we're going to do today, if you remember last week, we covered the 3 different strategies we have with our Charles Schwab platform. We have the conservative strategy, which has limited exposure to the stock market. We have our moderate strategy, which includes a little more exposure to the stock market. And then finally, we have our growth strategy, which obviously has much more exposure to the stock market. So as it would go, as one of my good cohorts years ago used to say, risk and reward are traveling companions. So the more risk you're willing to take, the more possible reward you'll make. Obviously, it could go the other way. The more risk you want to take, the more losses you could take. So this is why we don't just tell everybody one size fits all into the stock market, nor is one strategy better than the other. It has to be suited to your risk tolerance. Now, what we then do is we come in with our split IRA. So we have the Schwab portfolios. They have the 3 strategies within Schwab that we manage. Then you have the annuities. That's for the stability. That's for the people that want everything guaranteed. They don't care if they don't make a ton of money. They just don't want to lose anything. So what we've done is we've married the 2 worlds together. We have the stock, bonds, mutual funds, bank CDs through Charles Schwab, and we can also offer these beautiful products called annuities that can guarantee principal and guarantee you'll never run out of money. So when I return, what I'm going to do, we're going to go through 3 segments throughout the rest of the show. Each segment, I'm going to give you a case study of actual people I've worked with and how these 3 different strategies through our split IRA were perfect for their situation. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Trey Juergens, fiduciary and full-time advisor here in the Louisville office, and today I'm going to share with you a tip to retire worry-free that involves pension lump sum rollovers. So today I'm going to help explain the steps that we can assist with in the onboarding process. The first step, of course, is deciding when you're going to retire. So when you do this, you set a commencement date. That commencement date issues a calculation of your pension and specifically what the lump sum pension amount will be. Second step is actually going to be submitting your paperwork. So when you do set that commencement date, they will send you a pension packet to be able to complete and elect for your pension option. The third step is spousal consent. Your spouse will have to consent to you taking the lump sum pension rollover because that actually means you're not electing for any survivor benefit for the pension. So in our office, we help notarize spousal signatures, help collect the important documents, and submit them for you. The fourth step, actually on the pension packets, will identify the identifying information, marriage license, any important documents that you have to submit. We help you make copies of all of these to be sent in with the pension packet. Finally, the last step is identifying where the rollover will be going. In most cases with us, the custodian will be Charles Schwab, so we'll identify that the check will be made out to Charles Schwab for benefit of you. That check will be sent to us or to you, depending on the plan. And we have now successfully helped you with completing the lump sum pension rollover. If you have any questions about a lump sum pension rollover that you might be eligible for, please feel free to give me a call at the number on the screen or email me at trey@tonywalkerfinancial.com.
Are you nearing retirement, and does your employer offer you a pension? Do you realize that with interest rates going up, the value of your pension will be going down by as much as a 25% loss in value? Don't let this kind of money get away from you. Take action now before your lump sum pension loses value. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call at 877-499-9255. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Tony Walker here. And before we get into our 3 case studies on how to avoid the one-size-fits-all mantra preached by the financial world, our own Derek Hudson had a question last week. I couldn't get it on the show. And this is about Social Security, I think, isn't it, Derek? Let her rip.
Yeah, well, a few weeks ago, we had our elections across the country, and there was a lot of talk about Social Security. I heard something about it, like possibly going broke.
Oh, so going broke in the future? Is that what you heard?
Yeah, like 2033.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, let me tell you this, Derek. And folks, hopefully you don't wreck your car when you hear this. It's already broke. Okay. Let me define, because I knew you were going to use that word going broke. Okay, I've got my cheat notes here. Now, this is the world according to Tony Walker. Broke means that you don't have current assets to cover liabilities. That's what broke means. So think about this, Derek. Let's say that you owed somebody $5,000 and you had $2,000 in the bank. Now, they let you float that note, right? That's a deficit, right? You don't have the $5,000, but you owe somebody that. But in the meantime, they say, Derek, don't worry about it. You just pay me $50 a month, and we're good. We'll just kind of keep tabs on it. You'll still owe the money, but don't worry about it. Okay, so that's not paying the debt back, but I'm taking $50 so I can let you keep the debt, right? Remember, you only have $2,000. And out of the blue, I call the note and say, Derek, I really need my $5,000, buddy. Forget this $50 a month deal. Pay up. Where are you going to get the money? You don't have it, right? You're broke. So not only are we $30 trillion in debt, I saw this statistic. One economist is estimating, now this is an estimate, a little bit of the theory, that to pay everybody now the Social Security they're going to owe now and in the future, all these people are waiting for their Social Security, is another $70 trillion of future obligations that we have to come up with. So we've got $30 trillion of national debt, $70 trillion we owe all these people we've promised Social Security to. Do you think we got $100 trillion laying around? Obviously not. So, folks, here's the point. When you're dealing with Social Security, it's a great point, Derek. When you're dealing with Social Security, you have to ask yourself, when do I take the Social Security? And knowing the government is going to have to come up with the money leads to my next question. Did this same person on the radio have any options for the government to remedy this situation?
Well, I heard 2 opposing options. The first is to keep paying people what we're paying them, but raise taxes to pay for it. The other is to start cutting off benefits from the top. So the top earners will get less Social Security. We won't raise taxes. We'll just start removing benefits from people.
And actually, those are 2 very good options. So where does that lead you, folks? You're riding down the road. We've just talked about Social Security. Here's where it leads you. You better get a game plan, and you better meet with somebody who's experienced in the world of retirement planning, because at Tony Walker Financial, thank you, Derek, by the way, we're going to look at your whole situation. There is no one-size-fits-all. Doesn't mean you should take Social Security at 62 or 70. Throw all that out the window. There's no way you're going to know when to take that Social Security and how to enjoy that money until you meet with a retirement planning specialist. So let me invite you to do that. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call at 270-843-9380. Okay, in case you're just now joining us, I'm going to go through 3 case studies. I thought about taking breaks here, Aaron and Derek. I know you're both helping to produce this show. May not do that. We may only take 1 break. Let's take case 1 in the essence of time. All right, this is a 71-year-old couple. All right, he retired in 65. Listen closely. He shared with me they don't want any risk and they don't want any investments tied up longer than 5 years. All right. He's getting ready to turn 72 next month. That means he's going to have to take his required minimum distribution. He has no idea how to calculate that. He has had cancer, and his wife is in poor health. See, this is the kind of stuff you have to know, folks, if you're a retirement planning specialist, because I have to understand their life expectancy. Incidentally, there'd be a good example of somebody that was debating when to take Social Security. They probably want to take it pretty soon. Doesn't sound like they're going to live a long time. Let's see, he has about $600,000 with a broker in an IRA that he had rolled over from his previous 401k. He didn't know what the fees were. I've looked at the statements. The fees are over 1.5% per year. So that's $9,000 per year he's paying to this brokerage company before he even makes a penny. He doesn't like the idea of risk. He doesn't like the idea of fees. And he's looking to diversify his assets. He's very, very nervous about having this much money in the stock market. So in comes the split IRA solution at Tony Walker Financial. Knowing that he doesn't want to take a lot of risk, this is why we have 3 strategies. We're going to classify him in the conservative strategy, all right? And then we'll put short-term annuities in the annuity buckets, and probably a couple of those. Now, currently, as we record this show on November 28th, 2022, we have annuities paying over 5%. So, Aaron, let me ask you this. If you could have some of your money in an annuity guaranteed at 5% for 5 years, and listen to this, no fees. You were paying 1.5% fees, so theoretically, it's really paying you 6.5%, right? Because there's no fees. You were paying fees. How would that entice you, and would you think, that sounds pretty good to me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No fees, no money out of my pocket. Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go, folks. So there's an example of how quickly we can solve someone's dilemma who doesn't want a lot of risk, doesn't want a lot of money tied up. The Schwab is going to give him complete access to enough money to cover his RMDs and any other money he might need for emergencies. So that's an example of a case that involves somebody that needs our conservative strategy with our Charles Schwab. And in that example, we added short-term annuities with current rates that are guaranteed at over 5% for 5 years. So pretty cool stuff right there. All right, let's back it up a notch. Let's drop in age a little bit. Again, as people get older, they get a little more conservative. But this particular couple, we're imagining both are already retired, 63 years of age. Remember, our last couple was 71. Gets into a little different situation. He just retired. He has $250,000 pension he can take lump sum, and the total between the two of them with 401k plans is around $300,000. They've done a good job saving after-tax money. They have $100,000 in the bank. They decided to go ahead and draw their Social Security now, all right, at 62. No, excuse me. I'm sorry on this one. No, they're going to wait. Okay, now I know why. Okay, they currently are getting their health insurance through Obamacare. So with that in mind, they do not need a lot of income. For those of you who are dealing with this insurance dilemma prior to 65 and go on Obamacare, you'll know that you got to really watch your income. So we're suggesting they delay their Social Security to at least 65 to keep that off the taxable income. She's also going to be receiving an inheritance next spring of $150,000 after tax. When I mentioned before tax and after tax, folks, I know it gets complicated, but this is really important for Obamacare and making sure their subsidies stay in tune, okay? We don't want a lot of income in this example prior to 65. They do want some access to some money. They're okay taking some risk. And they like the idea of some of that mailbox money I keep talking about. Remember, mailbox money is money that is guaranteed to last as long as you do. So they want some mailbox money. So as we look at this, what we decided to do on the Schwab bucket, we decided to put the money we're going to put there into the moderate strategy, which includes about 45 to 50% in the stock market. The rest is not quite as risky. Probably put a couple $100,000 there. And the balance, we're going to actually put that in what we call a mailbox money type annuity or income annuity. It's a fixed indexed annuity. And they can choose between 2 different annuities. And since we know this is going to be used for income down the road when they hit age 72, we could put it in a current 10% bonus annuity or one offering as high as 20%. Now, again, this is the bonuses attached to the income riders. And if you were interested in something like this, we could show you why we're doing this. Again, we wouldn't use this bonus annuity all the time. In this example, this is going to be a humdinger, as Shannon Ross likes to say.
Humdinger.
All right. So So you see where we're going with this, folks. You have to first look at the case. You have to have the expertise to analyze where they need income, taxes, Obamacare, Medicare premium offsets, all of that type of thing we're looking at Tony Walker Financial to make sure you don't make mistakes as you're drawing out money and planning for retirement. Okay, so that was case number 2. I tell you what, we do have a little bit of time here. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to come back. Case number 3 is going to be dealing with the growth strategy through Charles Schwab. So I'm Tony Walker. We're going to hear one more case analysis and why we don't play the one-size-fits-all game. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no-obligation appointment. Let us help you today. With the uncertainty of the stock market, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. To talk to me at no cost or obligation, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
My name is Mark Williams, and I've been in the financial services industry for around 30 years now. I'm the CEO and president of Brokers International in Des Moines, Iowa. At Brokers International, to put it simply, we help agencies and financial professionals grow their business. We offer live support, digital tools and services, and several ways to submit both annuity and life insurance applications. Right now, we service around 4,500 financial professionals nationwide. The one thing I continually see with the successful financial professionals that we work with is that they have a repeatable process of doing business and providing service to their customers. Tony Walker is one example of those financial professionals that utilizes a repeatable process. We started providing our services to Tony and his firm a few years ago. I think what makes him so successful is that he's got such a well-oiled machine, a process that he's created himself. In fact, I flew my team out to Kentucky so we could see it face to face how Tony consistently provides that service. When it comes to his process, I found that one thing Tony does really well is hire more service professionals to help him so that he can continue to see and help more people. Tony has figured out that in order to service thousands of clients with top-notch service, you have to have a process, a way to duplicate what you do day in and day out. I'd invite you to give a call to Tony Walker.
Welcome back, everybody. I am America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Ornder, and I just wanted to welcome you back to the Worry-Free Retirement. And Tony, we just heard from Mark Williams. Okay, well, that's not really a common name in the, in the world. And I'm just, who is Mark Williams? Who is that guy?
That is kind of funny. I know it's kind of interesting, folks. I have two corporations that we run here simultaneously. We have Worry-Free Productions, which Aaron and Derek work with. They produce all of our TV and radio shows, do an exceptional job doing all of that. But then I have the Tony Walker Financial World, which is literally the financial planning operation and retirement planning. And yeah, I guess, Aaron, I've just kind of assumed you knew who Mark Williams was. So yeah, Mark Williams, folks, that you just heard from, runs a pretty large company. A lot of advisors such as myself, we purchase annuity products through people called field marketing organizations. Brokers International is who we use. And I guess the reason I like to play that is because Mark Williams has been in the industry for years. He's visited a lot of advisory practices around the country, and I guess I was just honored. We've been number one with their company for years in terms of annuity production. But when he asked to come and see our operation, Aaron, it was like, Tony, I got to see what y'all are doing down there. I want to see this process you keep talking about. So yeah, I think it's just an honor that a guy like that, he's not endorsing us. I mean, he's not a client. He's providing services, but I think he just wanted people to know what a great operation we provide and just really appreciate him taking time to do that. Okay, let's get to the third case. All right, we're using sample cases. If you're just now joining us, we're trying to fight against the one-size-fits-all mantra pushed by Wall Street that tells you need everything in the stock market, or you go the other extreme, the one-size-fits-all mantra from the annuity peddlers that just say, throw it all in annuity, you'll be fine. So at Tony Walker Financial, over the last 38 years, I figured out how to marry the two worlds. We can do both the Wall Street world, and obviously we're very proficient at the annuity world, and we do that through something called the split IRA concept. So now we're on case number 3. So we have the 3 strategies: conservative, moderate, and growth. And finally, this is an example where somebody wants our growth strategy, which is pretty heavily involved in the stock market. Case 3 involves a married couple, age 50. They have 4 different accounts with an advisor that they want to move to us. There's 2 pre-tax accounts out of the 4, and 2 are Roth accounts. They are still contributing to their new 401ks. All right, these were old 401ks that are now in IRAs that they want us to handle. They were paying well over 1.5%. Again, these huge fees money managers are charging. We're going to be able to charge only 0.8%, about half of what we're paying, which is nice, as Bill Murray would say. They want to retire at 60, so they needed a game plan to see if they could do that. Actually, they have quite a bit of money coming in addition to their 401k contributions, so they wanted to consider investing some of that money in like an annuity that could provide some mailbox money, since we're going to take more risk with their Schwab. So we're still doing the split IRA, but what we're doing is we're going to fund a new annuity. You can do that with some of these annuities. And the idea is at maybe 60 or 65, they could add this mailbox money to their existing accounts. And now, Aaron, this was kind of interesting too, because they're wanting to retire at 60 and they've read the book Live Well, Die Broke, the book I wrote, folks. By the way, if you want to pick up a copy of Live Well, Die Broke, it's a game changer. You can purchase it at any major bookseller, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And what it does is it shares my philosophy on life and the idea that most people wait way too long to spend their money. Live Well, Die Broke says, hey, let's use and enjoy this money. And if you want to leave a legacy bucket behind, do that through tax-free life insurance. So these people had heard that message, it resonated, but they didn't want to pay for life insurance premiums all their life, Aaron. And I don't know if you know this, Aaron, there's a policy we sell. I think it's a great policy. It's called a 10-pay life. So let me set the stage and you tell me if you like the sound of this. You pay for 10 years into a life insurance policy. Let's say you put $5,000 a year in, whatever it is. But they're going to guarantee you after 10 years, you'll pay no more premiums. This is guaranteed. So you're done, right? Remember, these people are 50 and they want to retire at 60. They don't want to pay a bunch of life insurance the rest of their life. So the policy's paid up. The death benefit in their case starts out at about $150,000, but keeps growing. So by the time they're well into their later years, it could be $200,000-$300,000 based on dividends.
Okay.
All right. So that allows them permission to use the other assets, spend and enjoy those, because they know when, not if, when they die, their kids are going to get a nice tax-free sum of cash, guaranteed. Not bad, huh?
That's very nice. Yeah.
So that's the kind of planning we do, folks. Now, again, as you've noticed here in summary, everybody had different types of plans, different strategies. The last one even went into permanent life insurance. So the point is, folks, there really is no one-size-fits-all. So here, let me make an offer to you. If you're retiring soon, really need a game plan for retirement, you're looking for a trusted fiduciary, maybe just want a second opinion on your overall finances, do this right now. We call this the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call where you can talk with me, the owner, Tony Walker, at no cost, no obligation, no fee. All you do, you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started. Or if you like, you can give us a call anytime at 270-843-9380. That's 270-843-9380. And tell them you want to set up your free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with Tony Walker, and we'll make that happen. Well, folks, we're about out of time. We want to thank you again for joining us. And you remember, between now and next week on the Worry-Free Retirement, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.